Welcome back to the video series by myself, Kelvin Charles. This video is going to focus on the components that form the ThousandEyes solution. So, platform overview. We have a number of things going on that make up actually the ThousandEyes solution itself. If we start at the bottom, you can see we have on the left hand side we've got cloud agents. Now they're deployed and managed by ThousandEyes all around the world and considered to be an external vantage point monitoring important parts of the cloud. Enterprise agents are software components deployed within your organization. These can be installed in places such as your DC, campus networks, branch offices, and even VPCs. And these enterprise agents are actually considered to be an internal vantage point monitoring strategic points in your organization's network. And then lastly, we have the endpoint agent. These are browser-based plugins, or it's a browser-based plugin installed on end-user devices. And these are placed to provide a positive end-user experience by monitoring and providing information about the issues or any issues that the end user might face. The agents, so the free agents, where they're deployed, they collect data, and once the data is being collected, they are fed. That data is fed back into the ThousandEyes software as a service, where the visual representation of the data is provided, and the ThousandEyes SaaS, if you like, is represented here on the top. I could just show you the UI, but I don't want to take our focus away from the main elements at the moment. So if we look at within the ThousandEyes GUI, we can see we've got a few options which do different things. So we've got dashboards. So we've got the ability within ThousandEyes to have multiple dashboards displaying different bits of information, however configured. You also have the ability to share snapshots at any point in time with those that maybe don't have access to ThousandEyes but would benefit from seeing the presented data. So, an example might be, let's say for instance, there's an issue with the ISP and it's affecting your organization, and you can see that on ThousandEyes and you want to report that to the ISP. You can easily create a share or a shared link to share that information with the relevant people to prove that it's not in fact your organization, it's the ISP itself, and it kind of gives them then a kind of heads up to fix whatever the issue is. There's also the ability to create reports, and we'll look at this a little bit further when we get into the demonstration. The same thing with alerts. You can set up different rules or different alert rules. Again, we'll take a look at in more detail when we get to the demonstration of that. And lastly, we have an accessible API, and integration is available and even with Cisco devices such as DNAC or DNA Center. So we've got a rich set of features that can be used here within ThousandEyes itself. So just a little bit more on cloud agents. So they're mainly used for outside in monitoring, where you may host an application in the cloud. And I've given an example there, such as a banking app. So if your organization has cloud hosted solutions, let's say it is a banking app, you can deploy a cloud agent if there's not already one available to monitor that banking app and provide you with the visualized representation of that data. Usually web-based applications and API endpoints are monitored with the cloud agent. That's usually what it's used for. ThousandEyes already has many cloud agents deployed across the globe that can be leveraged. So, you know, when you get access to the UI, the graphical user interface, you can see which cloud agents are readily available as well. Enterprise agents are deployed and downloaded by you within your own environment or the organization. And they're deployed close to the application, which is considered to be an ideal vantage point, because what you'll do then is you'll avoid all that unnecessary network noise that you don't need. And it also supports bidirectional tests where asymmetry exists within the network. So say for instance you had traffic going out one way of your environment and then coming in another way, you know, we're still going to be able to capture that traffic, get into the source or destination, because it's at an ideal vantage point. Tests are something we're going to talk about in the upcoming sessions, so don't get too hung up on that. Let's just focus on the actual makeup of the platform first. Different form factors for the enterprise agents do exist, so you can see we've got a myriad of different options available depending on your needs. So we can see, you know, we've got the main ones there, the OVA for VMs, we've got Hyper-V, ISO files, we've even got a Raspberry Pi image, which I think is quite cool. And those are you know, those organizations that are doing things with Docker. There's also a Docker container images there, as well as AWS as well. So there's a good selection already available for you to use if enterprise agents is something that you would want to deploy. Lastly, endpoint agents. These agents support PC and Mac devices and use the Internet Explorer or Google Chrome. It is, I think I mentioned before, it's extension based, so like I say, it will use the Internet Explorer or Google Chrome browser for that agent to work. This is useful, and I mentioned this in the first video, useful for remote and hybrid workers that are, you know, particularly working away from the office and, you know, may run into issues or network connectivity issues. And the great thing about these endpoint agents is that we get, you know, really that end-to-end view, you know, because we get that first hop visibility right from the endpoint itself, as opposed to, you know, the endpoint, the enterprise agent being the only kind of first hop, if you like. You know, we've got it right to the endpoint, so we can see what's going on from the endpoint itself. The endpoint agent can also be used to monitor user traffic, which is quite cool if that's a feature that you want. And license considerations need to be taken into account. And I've not put any more around that yet, because what I'm going to do is I'll do a separate video around the licensing considerations as well. So we'll focus on that in the upcoming video series.